I would think that members of the faith community, whether or not they are places of worship that are worshiping on Fridays or on Saturdays or on Sundays, could indeed have a member of the diplomatic community to come to their place of worship to be able to share more about their nation. And so that would be a wonderful way. And then to have members of those houses of worship to, quote, visit those nations by going to the embassy. They would be happy to do that. We've done that at our local congregation, and I would lovingly challenge your viewers to be able to seize that opportunity of calling to an embassy and saying that we would like to come down and to visit, and they will, I can assure you, get a warm reception by any given embassy that would love to be able to make those kinds of arrangements.
Wow, wow. Thank you, Reverend, because I guess that's a good challenge to viewers at home to be able to, kind of think about a country you like to go to, but now you can't be there physically. But if you go to their embassy in Washington, D.C., they would be willing to share some of the information with you. And like the Reverend said, welcome you warmly. So now to our specific event in D.C. I keep on coming to that because that's very critical, and that's the focus of this session of the program. Reverend, walk us through some of the challenges the faith-based organization have over the time since the civil rights up to now. I know that's a long time to do quickly, but in terms of their engagement, continued engagement, continue access to resources to be able to meet some of these cultural differences and diverse community.
I think one of the biggest, or the two biggest issues that we're facing in America right now, one is indeed still the divide economically in this country. And that's not necessarily and solely by race, but the reality is that we still have a tremendous chasm in this country of the haves and the have-nots. And it's only being exacerbated now by the current economy and with the number of jobs that have been lost. And so the faith community needs to try to do all that it can, number one, to try to identify places of employment, job opportunities for the members of our churches. That's number one. And then number two, I think that we have a lack of civility in America. With all of the rancor that we've seen over the last couple of months in particular, going on between the political parties and seemingly unable to come together to be able to compromise. I believe that one of the things that still leaves us feeling somewhat sickened in America is this inability to be able to create reconciliation and a spirit of compromise amongst people. And I think that we within the faith community are challenged to be able to at least bear witness to that and be a witness to that for the broader community. I would also say lastly that while we certainly want to celebrate what Dr. King espoused throughout his tenure as a civil rights leader and as a human rights leader, there's much to be said about the fact that there's still somewhat of a divide in this country racially. And I would challenge all of us to do all that we can to get rid of any last vestiges of racism that still exist in this nation. It is still true, regrettably, that to a large extent on a Sunday morning, that is still one of the more segregated hours in this country. And even within the faith community, we need to be coming together and finding ways that we can indeed find some common ground amongst us in order to really meet those challenges that I talked about earlier.
Right. Wow. That's kind of a fantastic point you made, like coming together. And I think what you mentioned about your organization is to reach out to some of these faith-based to be able to work together and reach out to the community. And Reverend, we're going to move to a different point at this time. We look at the Prince George's County, the city of Bowie. Is there any opportunity or access whereby there is an outreach to the officials, maybe a formal or informal way? Because some of those challenges you mentioned will be, such forum will be an opportunity to, share with them what is it that the community, because the faith is critical to people. So an average person will have more to talk to the pastor or to have a counsel in their own faith organization. Is there any mechanism you have in place to be able to channel some of these rudimentary inputs to the official for policy making?
I think that what needs to take place is that for those of us within the faith community, pastors, other religious leaders, to indeed make sure that we are not divided or separated from the life of politics within Bowie and within Prince George's County. I think it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we're sitting down with the mayor, with indeed members of the city council, so that they know the needs as it relates to the faith community and what we see as challenges. I think that there needs to be a greater partnership than what prevails at this moment. Not only do I wear the hat of the Pan-African Collective and a pastor at Greater Mount Nebo, but for a number of years I was also the head of something called the Collective Banking Group. We now changed the name recently to the Collective Empowerment Group, to really look at ways in which the faith community in a larger sense here in Prince George's County could help bring about some change. And we have indeed met with the county executive over the years and members of the county council. But I certainly think that even on that narrow level within the city of Baltimore, city of Bowie, that it would be terribly important for those of us in the faith community to find ways in which we can come together and indeed create some kind of mechanism to indeed interface with elected officials.
Right, yeah. And thank you very much that you mentioned that, like, about City of Bowie, because the City of Bowie has a diversity committee which actually work with the mayor, and the mayor is very supportive, and some of the council members, in making sure that they have inputs, and they will be willing, so to speak, and I know they are listening at home right now to be able to reach out, or when they are reached out to really accept invitation to talk about it, because they are critical inputs towards the policy implementation of creating a better society. So at this time, so Reverend, we're going to talk more about the global involvement. I know you mentioned that a little bit, but in terms of how do you culturally accept when people come into this country, for instance, because that's very critical. I came into the United States over 10 years ago, and obviously I learned so much over the time, you know, making mistake that if there has been kind of a mechanism or a structure in place to be able to have people, you know, fit in, ask questions and get answers on a timely manner. Do you have any program within your church that really answer these questions?
My vision at Greater Mount Nebo AME Church is ultimately to create a center for global understanding.
Wow.
And that has been within my heart and within my mind for a number of years now. And I guess you could say that some of those initial steps have been taken through the Pan-African Festival, through dialogue that we've had with members of the diplomatic corps. But certainly what I would love to see take place is to create some kind of center where persons that are coming here to Bowie to live, to be able to raise a family, but yet they're coming from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, and wanted to get a better sense of what life is really like here in America, is to be able to create some kind of a clearinghouse, a place where people can come and to learn about that. And so I'm hoping that even before the literal building has been constructed, that we can continue to work with others within Bowie to make that happen. So again, through the city of Bowie and others, as we learn about people that have decided to plant themselves here in the city, that they will not be isolated, but in fact, we can make them feel fully integrated within this community as quickly as possible, and indeed get the answers to those kinds of questions. And so I would really hope and pray that there would be others that would be willing to see and make that happen as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Reverend. That's kind of on the very conclusive note, a very sensitive thing you mentioned about that Center for Global Understanding, to make sure that people relocating into the city of Bowie, Prince George's County, even the state of Maryland as well, will be able to have that kind of welcome, so to speak, hospitality, so to speak, about learning how life is here, going to school, raising children, and and the whole 9 years of life. So we are getting to the end of the program at this time. I will be making that in the announcement, but I want to see if you have a last word, a final word, so to speak, about for young people. How is it that you're going to get them engaged? What is the advice you have for them to be able to make a difference in going through this world?
Well, again, I thank you very much for the opportunity to be with you. I think one of the challenges for our young people is to not be limited in your thinking, to make sure that you do think broadly. Get to know people that are from different cultures.
Right.
For our young people in schools, and you see someone that does not look like you, then that's all the more reason why you ought to go up to them, approach them, get to know them. Mm-hmm. And so I think that for our young people, they have a wonderful opportunity to really change the world in which we live. They can be global leaders. Wow. And the way to get there is to indeed think beyond where they are and indeed find every opportunity that they can to learn more about the world in which we live.
Wow, thank you very much. That on a very final note, that was a powerful message for the young people out there. I hope you will be able to listen to that again and make sure you do something that not only will impact you and impact people anywhere they are. So viewers at home, thank you again for tuning in today to Global Culture, which is a brand new TV show to be able to share the experience of the immigrant right here, and at the same time to have the Americans share with us actually the cultural understanding and being able to really live amicably together. Before we leave you today, we have some couple of announcements coming up. We mentioned earlier on about the Martin Luther King, the memorial that is coming up, actually started since August 22nd, but major event is coming up on August 26th. And this is going to be at the Washington Center in Washington, D.C. So if you go to the website, martinlutherking.com, you will be mlkmemorial.com. You will be able to see more information. Viewers at home, we thank you again for joining us today. Reverend, we thank you for coming. And I know viewers at home, they really share one or two things from your experience and as a leader of the church and at the same time a leader of some different organizations that are involved in understanding culture and welcoming people here in the city of Bowie and even in Prince George's County. This final note, my name again is Akinwale Ojomo. We hope you'll be able to join us next week, same time, same station. Once again, thank you very much.
This one goes to all my fellow Africans living far and away, far and away from their hometown.